Hey guys, what's up? It's Brandon here again for another video. So, it's been a minute since I've done a video just talking at the camera, my famous videos where I just talk. In today's video, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to talk about ego lifting. So, recently I had a bout of ego lifting, which got me my first, mini injury in quite some time. And that is kind of pulled something in my back, tweaked my back. It was a little kind of light to moderate back injury. And, it has yet to kind of fully heal. So I'm still trying to take it easy, do more lifting that doesn't have axial loading, doesn't, load the spine, basically. Really just, trying to take it easy on that stuff. So how did this happen? What was the ego lifting? Well, I've been doing 1 rep max attempts on the squat for a while now. And even over a month ago, I think, I attempted 350 pounds for a 1 rep max. I didn't get it that time. At that time, I think my best attempt was 340 pounds. Waited a whole month or so. I didn't have a good setup to lift at my house yet. So I was relying on when I would go to my dad's house to lift, because he has a home gym. You guys have seen me. If you've seen me do the 1 rep max squat attempts, that's at his house. And he went on a vacation doing his, world-class disc golfer, stuff. And while he was doing that, I didn't have a way to 1 rep max on my squat. So I was doing more lighter work. I was doing other exercises too. And anyway, he got back in time for me to, start lifting again a couple weeks ago. And, when I first went back to trying to do a squat max, I was able to get 345 pounds. And, I don't know how well I was recovered on that day, but I felt okay enough. And I got 345 and I was happy with it, a 5-pound increase. That's all you really need. 5 pounds here or there, and, you're getting a lot stronger over time. If you can keep going up 5 pounds just every once in a while, eventually that's going to add up to a lot of strength increase. So I tried this week. I tried again on Thursday, I tried again to go up another 5 pounds. And I had tried 350 before. And the initial time I tried 350, a month or so ago, what happened then is I knew I wasn't really that well recovered, and I knew that he was leaving for a disc golf trip where he was gonna. But anyway, so I don't need to get into his plans too much. So I had the opportunity, if I do a max attempt now, I can maybe get 350, or I have to wait until he comes back. Now I have my own setup at my house, so that's not as much of a problem. But still, it was I had him spotting me. I wanted to go up another 5 pounds, and I pushed it too much because I knew my recovery wasn't really the best that day. I knew that I probably would be better off to wait 2, even 3 days before a max attempt to actually be ready to perform my best. But I figured, you know what? I got 345 the last week. Maybe it doesn't even take my best performance to actually get 350. And it might not. But the fact was, on Thursday, I did not have enough performance to get it. And it felt really close on my first attempt. And so I really felt like I could get it. And where does ego lifting come in? Is ego lifting rounding the back in an exercise? No, not necessarily. Is ego lifting trying to be strong? No, not necessarily. What is ego lifting? Well, what I did is exactly what ego lifting is, I think. I had the fucking solidified personality that I was going to get 350 pounds that day. And I had been all day thinking about it. even the morning, I did a workout session, and I was trying to prepare for getting it. And I actually did a lighter squat session, nowhere near failure on any of the sets, to see if I could just do technique work and maybe that would help. So like I was really wanting to get this because 350, I had wanted it like a month before. Things just didn't play out for me to get it. And I was like, I really need it today on Thursday. And I pushed it. So like the first attempt, I failed it. If you fail a 1-rep max attempt, you're getting like very little actual stimulus to grow your muscles, but you're getting like pretty much maximum fatigue for what one set can give you. And so basically you're not getting much results when it comes to like building muscle. You might be getting like some decent adaptations for strength. If you fail a 1-rep max, it might still be beneficial there, but as far as building muscle, it's not good. It's a bad thing. And as far as how it affects your recovery, it's really not good. And so that what ended up happening is I did 3 max attempts. 3 attempts at 350 pounds, and I failed every single one of them. All at like the same point in the lift, basically. So one thing I gained is, I record my attempts, so I'm able to see where I failed, and I can, research that a bit and figure out what kind of movements and like secondary exercises I can do to kind of target that weak area of the movement. So that's all cool. But like, where was it ego lifting? Was trying a max 3 times ego lifting? Kind of. What was even more ego lifting? So like I tried 3 max attempts on the squat, higher than I've ever squatted before. 3 times in a row. Failed them all. And I wanted to deadlift after. Because, we were talking, and it's not necessarily a problem to squat and deadlift in the same day. To do them back to back is questionable, but that's kind of part of what the sport of powerlifting, when you're actually in a meet, is you'll do 3 compound movements all to it's not a 1-rep max usually. Usually people do more in training, but in the competition, you might lift less because there are certain, form restrictions and you have to follow certain, just regulations for how the lift is performed. So it makes it more difficult. But I think the main reason is you have to do all the lifts at the same day in a shorter time frame. If you could bench max 1 week and then try a deadlift max the next week or 2 weeks from then, and then a squat like a week or 2 from then, like you're going to have a much easier time than trying to do them all at once. But so it's done. It's doable to do a squat max and then a deadlift max not too long after. But considering how my recovery was not optimal to begin with that day, it was a bad idea. And looking back, I know it was a bad idea to even try the second attempt on the squat. Next time I fail, ideally I'm not going to fail. I'm not going to try to push it too hard to where I will be failing. I'll literally trust my recovery. If it's a day that I want to squat and I'm not ready for a max, I need to just do lower or moderate or even high, but not maximal RPE work. RPE being rating of perceived exertion. It's basically a 1 to 10 scale of how hard do you feel the lift is, and it's also based on how many reps you think you'd have left. But that's just for the people who aren't into powerlifting who are still here at 9 minutes in the video. So my plan is, I'm going to get 350 on the squat, and that's just like ego lifting at its finest, me just saying that again. But I'm going to give myself some time. I'm going to give myself some recovery. And I'm probably going to spend some time, I've been doing so much of testing my max, but I haven't actually been training much at high percentages of my 1-rep max. So my plan is I'm going to take some weeks, no more maxing on the squat for sure. I might even max on a different variation of the squat, but I'm not going to max on the low bar back squat. And I might not even max on, I might do things like, okay, what's my 20 rep max? Or I might do like, what's my max with heel elevation or a different foot placement, or on, high bar with a different foot placement. I'll just, there are different variations to be done. If I change variation, it's not really a problem anymore. But, I do now have this kind of little small back injury healing up, so I need to give that some time to heal too. So I'll probably be focusing more, like I'm going to focus on bench press this week, because for bench press has been on the back burner for like the past year or two for me. I've really not focused or cared much about it. I've done it here or there, but it's never been like, okay, my focus is I really want to get poundages up on the freaking bench press. I haven't cared much. And I want to start caring more, and this is a great opportunity to do so. And I'm not really going to push deadlift for much either. I almost was thinking as a variation to work on, or maybe work up to. I might do like okay, maybe not a max, but I might do like a 5 or 10 rep max of the good morning as an accessory lift. Or not accessory, but as like it's kind of accessory, but that's the wrong way to say it. It's more like it is a different movement than the squat, but it's like it helps the squat so much. It's a lift that is going to back up my squat and bulletproof my squat abilities even more. And I believe the area I'm failing, like, it is coming out of the hole. You can watch my last video. You can watch my first attempt that I failed that day of the 350 squat attempt. Where I failed, it looked like I was coming out of the hole, right? I was coming out of the hole, but I feel like it wasn't really quad weakness still at that point. And I'm doing a low bar squat, and my anatomy dictates that, like, I'm going to have a really bent over squat. So I still feel like a lot of the limiting factor is probably just the hinging strength. And if I train good morning, it's going to be easier on recovery than if I do like most deadlift variations, just because the loading, you're able to load the good morning so much lighter, just as far as total weight used goes. But, I'm probably just going to hold off on that too. I'm going to focus on some upper body. I probably won't even be doing things like shoulder. Like, I'm not going to do like a standing overhead press yet, for example. Because, like, that actually has a whole lot of, like, back stress in it. And when you're really trying to grind out a rep, like at the end of a set, or I might have to just, like, control the RPE, do like a set where I could maybe do like 4 more reps, but just keep it down and maybe just do a bit more volume, a bit more sets. So I could try that, but I'll probably maybe just do movements that are gonna really have hardly anything to do with the back for a while. Like pull-ups would be cool, but no, I actually got injured doing pull-ups. So like the full story is, I did my squat max attempt at 350 pounds, failed it 3 times in a row, and then I went to deadlift, and I was like, yeah, I'll try a max or see how much I can get for today, and I was, like, so much weaker. I was, like, probably 70, 80 pounds off of my strength where it would be fresh, even on a day where I'm not, like, fully recovered, but just where I'm not fatigued by a prior lift. If we're talking about like fatigue by a squat 1 rep max attempt failed 3 times in a row, that's a great way to get a whole buttload of fucking fatigue before you try another max. That's bad fucking, that's just bad. That's just not good. That's just not a good idea. Just don't do that. Don't follow after me. Take my advice of not making my same mistake. Don't do that. Don't do that. If you hit your attempt on a squat 1 rep max, and you get it, and you don't push to where you fail an attempt, sure, you could try a deadlift, or you might even do like a moderate to high deadlift session. But I mean, the only real reason to max would be if you want to actually prepare more for maybe actual powerlifting meet. But even then, I'm sure there are better ways to do that, probably. So yeah, like I would estimate I can probably get maybe, like, I got 405 for 3 on the deadlift, and I didn't even warm up. So I'm thinking I could at least get 430. And that day, like, I did 365, and it was, like, hard. It was a hard 365, which I think I did for 9 reps the other day. So, like, my recovery was fucked that day anyway to begin with, and then I was ultra fatigued from the failures of the squat. And then, this is what actually did it. So I did want 365 for 1 rep, and I'm like, that felt way too hard. I'm done. I'm not doing any more deadlifts. This is a bad idea. I'm pushing my recovery way too far. I need to just chill. But I finished the deadlift, and I looked in front of me, and the pull-up bar was right there, and I was just like taking some advice I heard from Eric Bugenhagen to heart, where he said, you don't want to leave the gym a loser, basically. And it even pulls off like the Tom Platz, like some of the things he said, like just the nice philosophy of, you go to the gym, try to get your personal best on something. It doesn't have to, or not even personal best, just like do some good sets, do some good work, which, like, the best thing of that day is I did do another just heavy single of 330 pounds on the squat, just 1 rep. And that's just, it's some more experience in, heavier percentages, higher percentages of my max. But, and I guess you could say I did 3 negative reps and came slightly out of the hole on 3 attempts of 350. So, like, that is more experience at the weight. That is more time with that amount of weight on my back. Like, I am getting used to it actually on my back a lot more than when I first attempted it. But this is actually what did it, guys. I got injured doing pull-ups. I did squat attempts at 350, 3 of them. I tried 365 on the deadlift, decided I'm not going to go any higher than that. I'm too fatigued. And I hopped up on the fucking pull-up bar and busted out 10 pull-ups. Wasn't too crazy hard. And the last rep, the 10th pull-up, I fucking pulled something, we're talking like mid spinal erector or like lower lat area, almost where the 2 would connect or so. I pulled something, and I got down, and then I had to like kneel over, and there were points where I was like, couldn't really move, couldn't walk. I had to be on the floor for a minute. I had to lay on the floor. I laid on the floor for like an hour in the living room, just kind of like letting the muscle relax. And that's ego lifting. So, like, not only did you squat max and push it beyond your recovery abilities 3 times in a row, when 1 attempt would have been enough, and then I could have, like, I don't know, switched to fucking bench press and just did some, normal, like, sets of 10 or something. Yeah, even to failure, could have done them, or to almost failure, and had a good bench press session and been fine. That's the kind of move I should have done that day instead. But I tried to deadlift max, realized I can't even deadlift max at all today. Like, I'm so fatigued after these squats. And then the cherry on top that broke the camel's fucking back was trying to do pull-ups. Like, the opposite, basically, of axial loading. Pretty much. I mean, how I conceive of it, at least. I think of axial loading as, like, pushing down on the spine, not you're hanging and there's less compression of the spine almost than, like, normal walking around and standing. So, that's all I have to say for this video. I've got to go get some pizza dinner with my family, my fiance, and my son. So, you guys have a good life. If you do see me again in another video, that's probably because you subscribed and you made the right choice and you were a moral sound, virtuous person at this moment in time when you had the opportunity to click subscribe on Brandon Rowe's YouTube channel and to hit the notification bell. My gosh, there's no better choice in 2025 or any year after, actually, to do that. So you need to do that, and you need to do that right now. And if you haven't done that, you should feel ashamed. And I love you guys. I'll see you in more videos. Thank you for subscribing. Everyone who's listening right now, you already subscribed. I know you did. And if you didn't, you know you're a fraudulent thing. No.